What's up, Panther fans, and welcome back to another episode of Panther Tales with your host, Wissam. We're continuing on the Meet the Opponents series, where we'll be breaking down every team on the Carolina Panthers schedule until we're 1 week away from the season. We are halfway through the videos. That means there's 7 weeks left until we're all right there watching the first NFL game on Thursday night. And then that following Sunday will be the first Carolina Panthers game. So we're almost there, guys. Hang tight. And let's go back to another NFC South showdown today, where we'll be breaking down Week 7 and Week 12 when we face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this one will be fun, not only because we play them at home in Week 7, but because the Week 12 game is a Monday Night Football game, and we haven't had a Monday Night Football game against a divisional rival in a really long time. So this should be a good one. This should be a good matchup. These are the two teams that were battling out for the NFC South last year. So let's go ahead and dive in. I want to start off by saying the Falcons don't want a rivalry with us. The Saints don't want a rivalry with us. We've never considered the Bucs a rival. It's getting to the point where Atlanta and New Orleans, they're just too in love with each other. So fuck it. Today, I'm declaring on July 13th, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the Carolina Panthers rival. Fuck you guys. Fuck y'all. I hate y'all. And if you don't want to take my word, take my boy's word for it.
Dante Wesley is the gunner. And Clifton Smith goes and gets set up, and Wesley just lowers the boom on him. And he's going to claim, he's going to proclaim.
Meanwhile, still down on the field is Clifton Smith.
Did that re-spark your hatred? I also know what you guys are thinking. What the fuck are you doing wearing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey? Well, this is more so for page promotion. Last year, I went to every home game. What I tried to do in every home game was try to find somebody who's wearing a jersey of a team that wasn't being played at Bank of America that day. So for instance, where I got this Bucs jersey, it was the Panthers versus Falcons. I found someone with a Bucs jersey. I offered to buy him a brand new Carolina Panthers jersey in exchange for his jersey so we can have more black and blue in our building. So that was just a concept I had last year, and that's something I did. I ended up getting 6 jerseys from the 8 games that I went to, so not bad. 2 of those jerseys, though, weren't NFL jerseys, whereas I am sticking to the NFL format for this season. So sorry, guys, if you're wearing a random jersey, college, random team, whatever like that. So I'm not going to do it. It's just going to be NFL swap for NFL swap. So that's why I'm wearing this jersey. But going back to declaring, fuck the Bucs! Fuck this jersey! Shit. Also had everybody who gave me a jersey sign their jerseys as well, just like it was a jersey giveaway at the end of a game. LOL. All right, that's more like it. I don't want to overdo the division is shifting thing. Do I think we're the best team in the division? Yes. However, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, and Carolina all went 8-9 last year. This year, we need to start separating ourselves from the competition. From the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're the team who had been controlling the division for years. They've been in the playoffs multiple times. We need to get them out, keep them out, and have them at the bottom of the barrel like they usually have been since the NFC South has formed. If Carolina wants people to believe that last year was the beginning of something instead of a one-year accident, beating Tampa this year is one of the clearest ways to do that. So again, Week 7 plays at home in Carolina. Week 12 away in Tampa Bay, Monday Night Football. And it's going to mean a lot. The Week 7 game is going to mean a lot because if it's anything like last year, you want to be ahead when it comes to this matchup. The fact that we were ahead last year is what propelled us to make it to the playoffs and put us in a better advantage. So this year we want to do the same thing. This year we actually want to sweep. And I think we have the chance to do that. So let's talk a little bit about the Panthers and Buccaneers history. This rivalry might not be discussed like the Panthers Saints or the Panthers Falcons, but it will be from here on out because of my earlier declaration. Carolina leads the all-time series. Oh yeah! 26-25. So if there's any time to really ramp up this rivalry between us Bucs fans, it's now, because we're like dead even on everything. Fuck you guys! Yeah, so we lead 26-25 all time. We're 14-12 at home, and we're 12-13 away. So you guys have the advantage there. And then we've never played in the playoffs. Both teams have had stretches where they looked like the more physical, more complete franchise. Tampa Bay had those nasty defenses with Rondé Barber, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, John Lynch, and Simeon Rice. But the Panthers answered with Jake Delhomme, Steve Smith, D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, Julius Peppers, Thomas Davis, and John Beeson. Then Cam Newton gave the Panthers some of their most fun moments in this rivalry. And then later, out of all places Tom Brady could have gone, he chose Tampa Bay, where he gave them their second Super Bowl. Now Baker's in Tampa, Bryce Young is in Carolina, and the Panthers are trying to prove last year wasn't an anomaly. Tampa Bay is trying to prove it's not done, and that's where we currently are in our series. Okay, there is one highlight we have to bring back because this matchup is on Monday Night Football again. On December 8th, 2008, Tampa Bay came into Charlotte and Carolina beat the Bucs 38-23. I was at that game. I know I say this a lot. I have not been to every single Carolina Panthers game. That was the double trouble game, or the triple trouble game if you want to include Steve Smith in there. He had over 100 yards as well. D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart were both rolling, and Carolina ran the ball like Tampa Bay had personally offended them. The Panthers finished with 299 rushing yards total that game. D'Angelo accounted for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Jonathan Stewart had 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. Rondé Barber is a great player and a Tampa Bay legend. But on that play, Stewart went Stranger Things on him, fucking threw him to the upside down world.
2 plays later, Jonathan Stewart, and here we go. 30-yard gain for Jonathan. Emmett, what is with these guys and, ridiculous stiff arms?
Well, this is textbook running. Have the ball in your right arm so your left arm can be a shield, and he used it just perfectly. Put it in his face, take him to the ground with it, and keep on running.
Carolina fans, just remember this feeling of what it felt like when you saw that. This type of team, this type of power, this type of physicality is what we're going to be showing for years to come. I truly believe that. Ever since Dan Morgan took over, our team has only improved. So players who have played for both franchises, let's just start with the most recent one. A'Shawn Robinson has been playing with us for the past couple of years. He's a defensive tackle. He's pretty good. So he just went over to the Bucs, so we will be seeing him 2 times this year. But obviously, the biggest one is Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield played for both franchises, and I can't be mad at him. I thought he was going to be our franchise quarterback when we got him, just because he played well for the Browns. He felt disrespected from them, and that's really his MO. When he feels disrespected, that's when he plays at his best. He just got thrown to the side like he was nothing for Cleveland. He had just brought them to their first playoff appearance in forever. They go ahead and sign a rate. They go ahead and trade for a very controversial player in Deshaun Watson. Very good guy, just keep him away from your masseuses. Then Baker went to Carolina. I was like, hell yes. He was in a quarterback competition with him and Sam Darnold. He won the QB competition, played here. His first game was against Cleveland, where we ultimately lost. And that should have just showed you what his career was going to be like in Carolina. That game had to have been won. If he won that game against Cleveland, he'd probably still be our quarterback. Psych. Our coaching staff was a mess. Our front office was a mess. Everything was bad. No one would have succeeded under that front office and coaching staff. So I'm not mad at Baker. He revitalized his career in Tampa Bay. When Tampa Bay signed him, I was in the Bucs subreddit just trying to be like, look, guys, temper your expectations. I was excited for him too, but this dude only throws the ball at the defensive lineman. And all of them were just like, fuck you, bitch, as they should. Don't tell us shit. He's going to succeed here. I was like, whatever. Can't wait to prove them wrong. He's been succeeding there ever since he's been there. So once again, not mad at Baker. It's crazy how he was able to revitalize his career. I like him. I feel no ill will towards Baker. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. One other player of note to mention, he didn't do anything for Carolina, but it was just kind of random. When I go back thinking of our biggest free agent pickups, he's like one of the ones that I think back on, even though once again, he didn't do much in Carolina, but Keyshawn Johnson played for the Bucs primarily, big time wide receiver there. And then we were able to sign him for, I think, 2 years. He played here. Once again, didn't do anything crazy for us, but just a random player who played for both teams. Keyshawn Johnson. Love you, Key. Now let's talk about the 2025 Buccaneers season. Tampa finished last season just like us at 8-9, but the record doesn't fully explain what happened. The Buccaneers were still dangerous, still in the division race, and still alive until the very final day. They also had a chance to control the South, and they let it slip away. The part Tampa Bay fans will remember is the collapse. The Bucs lost 4 straight games late into the season last year. They blew a 14-point fourth quarter lead against Atlanta. Then they went to Miami and turned the ball over 3 times in another loss. This is when we were versing the Seahawks. So if the Bucs won, they pretty much would have clinched the division there. And they lost to a Miami team that wasn't even playing Tua. They were playing a rookie from Texas. I can't even remember his name right now. Ewers? Quinn Ewers? I think that's it. So that's Tampa Bay season, really in a nutshell. However, Tampa finally beat Carolina 16-14 in the rain in Week 18. Sadly, I was at that game. On another note, I was really drunk and do not remember really any of it. So good on me. By then, the Buccaneers needed help. We needed Atlanta to beat New Orleans. The Bucs needed New Orleans to beat Atlanta. That's who decided who made the playoffs last year. And at the end of the day, Week 18, after our Saturday game where we lost, Atlanta took care of business and we were able to win the South and make it into the playoffs. So yeah, Carolina won the South. Tampa Bay also choked away their opportunity to win it. The biggest issue was that Tampa stopped looking like the stable, reliable team people had become used to. The offense was inconsistent, the defense gave up huge moments, and the Bucs kept leaving the door open. Todd Bowles publicly challenged the team. Fans were frustrated with the coaching, and a season that could have ended with another division title ended with Tampa Bay watching Carolina go to the playoffs. That's why 2026 is so interesting. Was 2025 one down season for the Bucs, or was it the beginning of Tampa Bay's window closing? The Bucs won the NFC South 4 straight years from 2021 through 2024 and made the playoffs in 5 consecutive seasons before last year. Carolina's division title broke that run. Now, Tampa Bay looks to see if they have what it takes to go ahead and win the division again. They don't. And part of their offensive struggles was that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were out for a large majority of the season last year. And I think Tristan Wirfs was hurt again. He's always hurt. So let's talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coaching staff. Todd Bowles is still the head coach of the Bucs, and Tampa is still going to feel like a Todd Bowles team, at least defensively. Bowles is the defensive play caller. He wants to disguise pressure, crowd the line of scrimmage, mug the linebackers in the A-gaps, show one thing before the snap, and bring something completely different after it. The strength of Bowles' defense is confusion and aggression. He can make a young quarterback feel like the answer changes every second. The weakness is that if the offense identifies the pressure and protects it, there can be opportunities behind the blitz. That is the challenge for Bryce Young. He does not have to win every snap with a miracle throw. He has to know where his answers are and stay calm. The bigger coaching change is Zach Robinson taking over as the offensive coordinator after 2 seasons in Atlanta. Tampa moved on from Josh Grizzard after the offense fell short last year. Robinson comes from the Sean McVay coaching tree and is expected to build around movement, play action, spacing, and Baker's strengths. The question is whether he gets Baker back to playing efficient, aggressive football, or whether another coordinator change creates another adjustment period. This is an interesting piece I found about Tampa Bay. They actually don't have a defensive coordinator because Todd Bowles runs the defense. Now, let's talk about Tampa Bay's offseason additions and departures. This is where Tampa Bay feels different. The biggest departure is wide receiver Mike Evans. That sounds strange to say because Mike Evans has basically been Tampa Bay football for more than a decade. He was the face of that receiving room, a huge red zone threat, and the player who could ruin your Sunday even when everybody knew the ball was going to him. He also was a receiver who had 1,000 yards every year that he had been in the league up until, I believe, last year. He will be in the Hall of Fame one day. So it feels really, really good that we don't have to play him this year. Other notable departures include cornerback Jamel Dean, running back Rashad White, defensive lineman Logan Hall, and Christian Izzian. Those were the biggest ones. White leaving makes Bucky Irving the clear lead back, even though everybody knew that last year. The problem was Bucky Irving couldn't stay on the field. Dean leaving creates a question at corner. Each departure opens a role for somebody younger. Now let's talk about the additions. The additions showed Tampa trying to stay competitive while being younger. They picked up linebacker Alex Anzalone, who brings experience in communication. Running back Kenneth Gainwell gives the offense another useful passing down option. Safety Miles Kilbrew helps on special teams. Edge defender Al-Qaidun Muhammad gives them veteran depth. The headline is still Evans. Replacing catches is one thing. Replacing the player who defined your passing games is harder. So once again, everybody with me, prayers. Thank you, Lord, that we don't have to play Mike Evans twice a year again. Let's talk about the 2026 draft class. Tampa attacked the draft with defense and speed. In round 1, pick 15, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected edge rusher Ruben Bain Jr. He's the big name that they got from the draft class. When you think Bain, you think of power, violence, effort, and the ability to set an edge or rush the passer. It feels like a classic Tampa Bay pick, which is annoying because if he hits, Carolina has another young problem to deal with twice a year for years to come. However, the thing they say about him is that he has short arms, so maybe that plays into our favor, and maybe he's not that good because of that. In round 2, pick 46, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers chose linebacker Josiah Trotter. He's physical, smart, and he has NFL bloodlines. He's a natural fit in a defense that wants linebackers to attack. Round 3, pick 84, they chose wide receiver Ted Hurst. He's a 6'4" vertical target with speed, brought in after Mike Evans left. Nobody should expect Hurst to replace the Evans immediately, but Hurst gives Tampa Bay size and a true outside option. Now the rest of the draft, round 4, pick 116, defensive back Keontae Scott. Round 5, pick 155, offensive lineman DeMont Capehard. Round 5, pick 160, offensive lineman Billy Schroth. Round 6, pick 185, they picked tight end Bauer Sharp. Tampa Bay clearly looked at the roster and said, we need to get younger and nastier on defense, and we need more bodies around Baker. By late October, rookies are not brand new anymore. If Bain, Trotter, and Hurst can play, they'll be on the field against Carolina. Booger McFarland analysis there. So let's talk about key players Panther fans should know on the Bucs roster. Baker Mayfield is the obvious one. Former Panther, current Buck, still capable of turning every game into something personal. And once again, early on last year, he was in the MVP running, so he did have an injury. Expect him to play better this year. Emeka Egbuka is the young receiver Tampa wants to become its next major headache. He's polished, reliable, and dangerous after the catch, and was in the running of Offensive Rookie of the Year last year, so he's going on year 2. Chris Godwin Jr. is still on the team. He remains the veteran presence. He understands zones, finds space, and gives Baker a dependable answer. However, with all the injuries he's sustained over the years, we'll see how big of a threat Chris Godwin still is on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucky Irving is dangerous because he doesn't need perfect blocking. He could create, catch, and make linebackers miss. Tristan Wirfs is still one of Tampa Bay's best players and the anchor of the offensive line. Vita Vea is the biggest problem on the field. If he wrecks the interior, Carolina's offense gets stuck. Kalijah Cansey is the burst next to Vea's power. One collapses the pocket, the other attacks gaps. Antoine Winfield Jr. is the defender Bryce must locate every snap. He's a very, very good player. And once again, he's the guy who did to Tyreek Hill in the Super Bowl. And then once again, Ruben Bain Jr. is the rookie to watch with the power, edge, and energy that he brings. Bowles will find a way to use him. So let's go ahead and bring it to the big board and break down both teams' projected starters. Yeah! Okay, so let's break down the big board, kind of going position by position, and then talking about the defenses, and then talking about the different matchups that we could be seeing with all these players. First, let's just talk about the two QBs. Baker Mayfield right now would have the advantage because a lot of people still don't know how consistent Bryce is going to be. So we'll give the advantage to Baker. And once again, like I was saying earlier, Baker did, before his injury last year, he was playing at an MVP level. So we'll give the advantage Baker here, even though by this time next year, I think we'll be talking about Bryce Young being the better QB, or Bryce Young just being in a better ranking amongst the QBs. You know, I don't think they're going to look at him 25 to 30 next year. I think we'll be looking more 15 to 20, hopefully, man. 12 to 20 is my honest hope, but it's a story for another time. When you look at the running backs, I'm going to give the advantage to us just because Bucky Irving has been in the league for 2 years, and one of those years he was completely injured for pretty much the entire time. So I'm going to give the edge to us because Chuba Hubbard is a good running back, and I'm allowed to give my own opinions. For the wide receivers, Chris Godwin versus T-Mac, definitely going to give the advantage to T-Mac. I just think Chris Godwin's getting up there in age, and I don't know how much he has left in the tank, but we will see. Jalen Coker versus Emeka Egbuka. That's hard because I think Jalen Coker is very good, but Egbuka was very good last year, especially being a rookie. He was either second or third in the Rookie of the Year votes, so we will have that an even tie. And then Jalen McMillan versus Xavier Legette. Right there, you have to give the advantage to Jalen McMillan. XL has a lot to prove. The times that Jalen McMillan was on the field, his rookie year, he looked really good. He was another injured player for the Bucs last year. We'll see how he is coming back from injury, him and Godwin and Mayfield, like pretty much their whole offense. So Baker Mayfield, Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, Tristan Wirfs were all a little injured last year. That's pretty crazy. Tight ends. Finally, I'm not going to just give one to the other team. Cade Otton versus Tommy Tremble is an even matchup. I don't care what Buck fans will say. That's even to me. Offensive line. Tristan Wirfs beats everyone on our offensive line, but as a whole, I believe our offensive line is better than theirs. You could read the names on the big board if you want to compare. Before I compare players, I just want to talk a little bit about the Bucs defense. Their scheme is multiple and aggressive. Tampa uses odd and even fronts, simulated pressure, overloads, safety blitzes, and linebackers mugged near the line. The goal is not always to send everybody. Sometimes the goal is simply to make the quarterback and offensive line believe everybody is coming, then drop out and force the rush decision. When just looking at their defense, Vita Vea is still the biggest problem on the field, literally and strategically. He can destroy a run play by himself. If Carolina's center and guards are not ready, the offense can live in 2nd and 9 and 3rd and 8 all afternoon. Cansey is the quickness next to Vea's power. One collapses the pocket, the other shoots gaps. Then Tampa adds Diaby and Bain off the edge. That means Carolina's tackles, guards, center, running back, and tight ends all have to communicate. Winfield is the best player Bryce has to find before every snap. He can blitz, cover, punch the football out, and erase mistakes. The possible weakness is cornerback depth and communication after Jamel Dean's departure. Younger players are stepping into bigger roles. If Carolina protects Bryce, there should be chances outside. In other words, our wide receivers are going to eat. Okay, and then let's just talk about some of the matchups outside of just position by position. Bryce Young versus Todd Bowles is the headline. Tampa has the advantage until Bryce proves he can consistently beat the pressure. Running game, Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks versus Vita Vea and Tampa's front. Carolina does not need 40 carries, but it needs to have enough success to keep the offense out of obvious passing situations. The Panthers receivers versus Tampa's corners. This is where Carolina should feel good with Jamel Dean's departure, the secondary changing. Carolina's wide receivers are not small. They have size, so that's going to be a big test for Tampa Bay's corners. Baker Mayfield versus Carolina's defense. Baker is dangerous when he gets rhythm and emotion, but he also gives defenses chances. As we all know, when Latham Ransom picked off Baker Mayfield at the end of last year's home game to put that game to bed. Carolina must turn pressure into mistakes. Bucky Irving versus Carolina's linebackers and safeties. This is a tackling matchup. If Carolina tackles poorly, Tampa Bay is going to have the advantage. If the Panthers rally and wrap up, it becomes very manageable. Tampa's receivers versus Carolina's secondary. No Mike Evans changes the picture, but Ibuka, Godwin, McMillan, and Hurst can still play. Tampa Bay's offensive line versus Carolina's pass rush. Wirfs is a problem. Carolina should not waste the entire game plan trying to beat him. Attack the rest of the line, test the guards, and create pressures inside. And that's what you have. They have an okay defense. I think our defense is better. We'll see what happens there. Here's the main thing, though. Even when looking at these matchups, even if I think we are a much better team than they are, it's a divisional game, and that really matters. These division games are crazy. They're wild. They're unpredictable. You never really know who will win at the very end of the game. So let's talk about some keys to the games. Key 1, Bryce has to beat the blitz mentally. Bowles will show pressures, drop out, bring pressure from the slot, walk a safety down, and mug the linebackers. Bryce must stay calm and take the answer that is available. Sometimes the correct play is a hot route, a check down, and throwing the ball away. And now that we're all looking for Bryce to be more consistent, he should be making the right plays. Key 2, Carolina has to run the ball enough to make Tampa respect it. If the Panthers can't run the ball, the game becomes exactly what Bowles wants. Key 3, don't let Baker turn this game into an emotional circus. Hit him, move him, and make him uncomfortable. But don't give him free yards with late hits or roughing the passer penalties. Make him beat Carolina by playing clean football. Key 4, tackle Bucky Irving. No lazy arm tackles, no bad angles, and no turning a 4-yard check down into a 28-yard problem. Form tackling, put him on the ground, make him not want to be on that field. Key 5, take advantage of Tampa without Mike Evans. Make the younger receivers prove they could replace the production and attention he demanded. Make Baker drive the field instead of giving up cheap explosives. Key 6, finish drives. Division games are strange. A team can dominate the first half and still be in a one-score game because it was kicking field goals rather than scoring touchdowns. Key 7, win the turnover battle. Baker will give Carolina chances. Bowles will try to create chances from Young. The Panthers can't be the team that blinks first. What would scare me about Tampa Bay? The real thing that scares me is the experience that they have winning the division and going to the playoffs for consecutive years. The Buccaneers still have veterans, a quarterback who's been through a lot, and defensive pieces capable of wrecking a game. Bowles remains a problem for any young quarterback if the protection plan is not right. Tampa also knows Carolina. Division opponents know tendencies, personnel, and the things that make you uncomfortable. Even when the Panthers believe they are better, Tampa's not going to be surprised by the basic plan. The other concern is that Tampa could respond to last season with desperation. The fans are tired of late collapses. The coaching staff knows the pressure is real. A team with talent and urgency can be dangerous. Unfortunately, the biggest concern I have is their front. Vea, Cansey, Diaby, Bain, and Bowles' pressure package can make an offense look broken for a quarter before anybody even realizes what's going on. So what gives me confidence, Panther fans? Well, it's simple. We beat Tampa Bay once last year, and we were very close to beating them again at their house. We also won the division. We don't have to imagine what competing with the Buccaneers looks like anymore. We've already done it. Carolina's young offense should be more experienced. Bryce has seen Bowles' defense before. The receiving room has more size. The defense knows Baker can be baited into mistakes. Tampa is also changing. Mike Evans is gone, which is a huge relief. He came back when it mattered most last year, aka when he had to play against us at home, and I'm pretty sure he was there for the away game too. Mike Evans is gone. Jamel Dean is gone. Younger players are stepping into major roles. The Bucs are not rebuilding, but they are replacing pieces that define the team for years. This creates cracks, and Carolina should be mature enough to attack them. The Panthers are not supposed to walk into these games feeling like the little brother anymore. They won the South. Prove it's not a fluke. Be big, bruh. Be big, bruh. So how I feel about the matchups. Week 7 is about Carolina setting the tone at home. The Panthers are playing a division rival that controlled the South for years. This cannot be a flat game where everybody says, we'll fix it in a couple weeks in week 12. Carolina has to punch first. That does not mean reckless. It means confident. Run the ball, protect Bryce, hit Baker, tackle well, finish drives. The most important thing I want to see is Bryce Young looking comfortable against Todd Bowles' defense, and he has before. Winning matters most. But if Bryce can identify pressure, control the offense, and punish Tampa when it gambles, that tells us more than one Sunday result. It tells us the quarterback is growing into the exact player Carolina needs in a divisional game. Week 12 is going to be different. Tampa, Monday Night Football, late November. By then, we'll know exactly who both teams are, and the game could have major NFC South implications. If Carolina wins Week 7, Week 12 becomes the can you finish the job game, where we couldn't last year at the very end of the season. Can the Panthers go into Tampa and sweep the Buccaneers? Can Bryce win under the lights? Can Carolina prove it's not just a cute one-year story? However, if Carolina loses in Week 7, then the rematches becomes a must-win game. Getting swept by Tampa would be brutal, especially if the division is tight. The Monday night history matters too. Carolina has not beaten Tampa on Monday Night Football since the 2008 Double Trouble game. Winning this one would not just be another regular season victory. It would feel like a statement we need to make. I have a couple of bold predictions. My first bold prediction is that our wide receivers are just going to go crazy on the Bucs. We will accumulate for 600 wide receiver yards over the 2 games and 4 touchdowns from our wide receivers over the 2 games. So 600 yards, 4 touchdowns over the 2 games. And my other bold prediction, because it doesn't happen often, we're going to sweep the Bucs. We're gonna sweep the Bucs, okay? Now my final thoughts. Tampa's won the NFC South for 4 straight years from 2021 through 2024 and reached the playoffs 5 consecutive seasons before Carolina broke that run last year. The Panthers made the playoffs and won the division for the first time in a decade. So that's the real background for these games. Tampa Bay has been the standard. Carolina interrupted that last year. Now the Buccaneers are trying to take the division back, and the Panthers are trying to prove they could defend what they earned last year. Week 7 is about defending our home turf, the bank, and Week 12 is about going into a Monday Night Football game and proving we belong. Carolina does not need to talk about the division shifting. Just beat Tampa. Last year opened the door. This year is about showing the Panthers belong on the other side of it. So Bucs fans, how are you feeling about this matchup? How are you feeling about this team? Please let me know if there's anything that I missed. Panther fans, how are you feeling about this matchup? Are you excited for it? Do you think we have what it takes to be the next team of the NFC South to win for consecutive years? But that'll do it for this episode of Panther Tales, the Meet the Opponent series. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you thoroughly enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I'd love to see you back here, especially in the comments section. Other than that, guys, I'll see you next week when we talk about the Green Bay Packers. See you soon, Zoe. And as always, keep pounding.